Let's talk about my experience with Paradox games. I have not played Paradox games in quite a while. I would say I haven't played them very deeply in years. So these are old experiences, these are not recent experiences, and my memory is not going to allow me to go very deeply into these things. But I do have some old memories, which I think are useful as well because they represent the essence of what I remember from playing these games. So I'm gonna talk about all of the series, but not all of the games. For the Crusader Kings series, which is my favorite, I played CK1 quite a lot, and I really liked that, especially for the time. There was nothing like it. Dynasties. You're not playing as a nation, you're playing as a character. Such a novel concept with its own mechanics. So that was really fun. And one thing that I remember about CK1 was just the craziness of the map. You'd see this very strange stuff happening. You the map would start out reasonable, like understandable, and after a while of playing, it would become so scattered. But that was part of the fun of the game, how wacky it was. At least for me, that was part of the fun of it. The Well, after that, I played. I'm not gonna go in order, but I did play CK2, and I think that was a very superior sequel, right? Most people would agree with this. I don't think anybody has a particular affection for CK1 over 2. And it's hard to pinpoint CK2 because it's a game that changed so much over the years with all the DLC, right? But the thing in my playing experience with CK2 was that if I could get a playthrough that hooked me, and that I was invested in the characters, in their storylines, and the family, the dynasty, I could play that for many, many hours. Just go straight into that. But if it did not hook me in this way, and it's hard to say what hooked me and what didn't, then it wouldn't work sometimes. So that was kind of a mysterious thing to me. How CK2 would sometimes just work flawlessly for a great game playing experience, and other times it would fail quite miserably for me. So I had to kind of like start many playthroughs, and sometimes they would just work, but a lot of the times they didn't. And in CK3, I think, of course, there are many great things about the game, but I found that I'd say that generally too little happens. I remember that being my experience with it, where it's just a lot of the time it was just a whole lot of nothing, unfortunately, and that did not work out super well. But it's similar to K2, you could get these playthroughs that really worked sometimes, at least for a while. But at least to me, they tended to be shorter. And well, I'm gonna go quickly through the other series here. So I I only played really EU3 in the Europa Universalis series. And my experience with that was paint the map. And it was fun to paint the map. I like painting, as you can see. So it was nice. Um, but I honestly don't remember much else other than that. And I did play at least a few dozens of hours of that. For Victoria, I played all of the games, but I mostly played Vic 1 and Vic 2. And I remember the pops, I remember migrations, I remember building factories and trading resources. And yeah, there was also some element of map painting. And Hearts of Iron, I only really played Hearts of Iron 2. And what I remember about that was the encircling and the flanking in war. That's how you won basically any battle, was by doing the right movements. And I did a few mega campaigns, so I would start in CK1 and transfer that over to the next game. And that took a long time to play through all of that. But I did it. I guess I just had a lot of time many years ago. And that was fun. I liked the doing mega campaigns just for the sake of like seeing the whole story unfold. I guess it wasn't really all so much about the gameplay, but just the storyline. That's what appeals to me, like the storyline of this huge chunk of time. And I also played Stellaris. And for Stellaris, what I remember is a lot of scanning. You'd scan for everything, everything took time. Everything was so slow. Stellaris, building slow, upgrading something is slow. Everything takes a long time. It's this huge time scale. And I think that masked the fact that there really wasn't much of a game behind that. It was just this long timers where everything took so long. That's what I remember, at least from playing Stellaris way back with no DLC, right? So certainly other people are going to have different experiences. And for the more recent titles of Paradox, I have to admit that I have not played them other than I played some Victory, right? Um, I tried playing U4, did not work for me. I have not tried U5, so I think either the games got a bit too complex or I became too impatient to learn them. Um, and maybe I'm just too old. Maybe I just don't have time to learn them and dedicate to them. But yeah, my references, my gaming references when it's come to Paradox games are the older titles. All right, so that's gonna be it for this one. And thank you. See you next time.